what I want to do is with Beryl explore a thing or two, and that will help me establish an idea or two, which is going to be useful for radiating love. Okay, so it's a method to all of my stuff. Okay, so I asked you the question. I said, remember a time when you were just so madly in love, when you picked out when you first met your husband, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you the question I asked you then. I'm going to say, well, what attracted to you? What made you fall in love? What attracted you and got you into that state?
Okay. And when I was with him, I felt like $1 million. I felt like I was on cloud 9.
Okay. Now, what I said to her and what I say to you is listen to the words that she used. It's, I felt like I was on cloud 9, right? That basically states, I'm getting something out of this, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I feel so good. We can also put in there, well, he compliments me, and he makes me look good, or whatever, okay? I mean, there's other things that go in there, but it's basically a list of what's in it for you. Am I correct?
Yeah, I couldn't find those other things about him.
Yeah,
I really couldn't.
All right.
I mean, his eyes.
All right, so, but let's be very blunt about, well, okay.
I mean, he was kind of weird, you know?
But, okay, he was kind of weird, but
he was really weird.
But
yeah,
we put up with that because you feel so good around him. Because you get some, you're willing to put up with all that, okay?
Yeah.
Right?
I still am.
Yeah, okay. Because there's something in it for you.
Yes.
Okay, now to be blunt about that, that is one of the ways that we practice love here. One of the ways we experience love is because there's something in it for us. Is it not a selfish, another loaded word, right? But is it not a selfish pursuit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is a very, and is your husband doing the same thing?
Oh, yeah.
He gets the same kind of charge out of her. So, it's a match made in heaven, soulmates, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yay, walks through the portals, and love goes on forever.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, maybe for you, but not necessarily for everybody, okay? So anyway, it's a self-centered thing, and that's what the Course is pointing that out to us, by the way. And it's not something to say, oh, shame on you, look at this bad thing you're doing and you're calling it love, and no. It's a very gentle letting you know, hey, isn't this what you're doing? You know? And if you're honest about it, you go, yeah, I guess I am, okay. And that all comes from the idea of separation. I am separate. As a result of separating from God, or believing that I separated from God, I am now, I believe, cut off from God's love. Now, we may attend church and we may have spiritual experiences or pursuits and one thing and another to pursue it in getting love, et cetera, et cetera. But the love that we experience here is nothing like the revelation that I had, for example. In fact, we used an example. Down there in the breakfast room, I said, if my spiritual experience love, my revelation, filled this whole room, and it had a ceiling, 12 times as high as this ceiling here, and a great big room and all that stuff. The amount of love that I generate when I did this experiment we did yesterday, where I closed my eyes and people had their physical things, etc., was only about this much of it. Okay, if I could generate all of that love all at the same time, we'd had 100%, and I could have people here with wheelchairs and crutches and throw them away and hallelujah and I'm saved and Gary is Jesus and all that stuff. Okay. But I am able to access, because of my work and my follow through and carry through and all that I've done, enough of it to make a difference. Now, if I can only go from here to here, that's doubling. That is a big deal, okay? But it's nowhere near where we can be. So we want to look at the possibilities, and that's what this workshop is about. How grand can it be? And let's see how far we can get with our practices, and so on. So, how'd I do?
Okay, you did great.
Okay.
I feel totally calm up here. That's amazing.
Do you? Okay.
I do, thank you.
Look at all these selfish people.
Look at all those.
There's a number of television programs that are out, and they're designed for people to find love. One of them, there's a bachelor or a bachelorette, and they have, if it's a bachelorette, for example, they have 25 really handsome, studly males come in, and they're all in love with, or want to be in love with the one lady, and she's supposed to send these guys home and choose one and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The theme in all of that is they are looking for love. They are trying to find love. Okay, that's the idea. How many have seen programs like that? I'm curious. Okay, that's a number of you. But the idea is we're trying to find love. And so, where do we find love? Where do you find love? Where do you find it? Is it out there in somebody else? Is love really out there in your husband, for example? Mm-mm. Is it where is love?
It's in your heart.
Go ahead, Martin.
I've twice in my life heard something from outside speak to me so clearly, it's if they're right behind me.
Yeah.
And I moved down to San Diego to go to massage school after ending a 15-year relationship. Uh-huh. And I was not in a very good space. And I remember walking around downtown San Diego watching couples and kind of feeling sorry for myself. And this voice said, "You will not find love out there. You will find it within yourself."
Yeah.
And it was just like someone was right there saying it.
All right. Thank you. So the idea is we're trying to find love someplace else, okay? And yet, can you really find it out there? You know, remember, it's a very selfish pursuit, okay? What can you do for me? You know, and by the way, I'll do for you, but I don't want to do too much work. You know, I just want to be me and you feel good, you know, that's all. Right? I mean,
yeah,
when
exactly.
you boil it down, isn't that, you know, pretty much
Yeah.
what we're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to compromise and do a whole bunch of stuff to make you love me, you know.
No, that's right, exactly.
Why would I do that? You know, fine, next. That will conclude our thing here, okay, my dear?
marvelous.
You need to give this back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, can we have a hand for Beryl? Okay. Now, I am going to ask Claudia. Where's Claudia? I'm going to ask you to come on up. Could you, Claudia? Hand for Claudia. Radiating love is one of several techniques, EFT-oriented techniques, that I have available to teach you. This one is going to be the workhorse. This one is the one that is the most valuable, the most useful, the most all-encompassing of all of them that I've developed to this point. As time goes on, I will develop more, and as the EFT community that I've already talked to you about develops, there's going to be more and more and more of that. Okay, but I want to take this particular one, and I want to do it thoroughly, not only with you, but with everybody in the audience. That's why it's going to be experiential. Okay, I am hopefully going to have all of you experience this. That's why I'm going to stop from time to time. I'm going to come out in the audience. I'm going to see what people are doing and how you're doing it and have questions and so on, because I want to be as thorough as I can. So we're likely to be here for a little while, okay? And we're only going to get started in the next 20, 25 minutes till the break, okay? So here, the idea of it is really quite simple, okay? The details we need to get into some, but the idea of it is easy. What we do is we take a moment from our own past, our own history, where we felt very loved. Could be just an instant moment. It could be something with a pet, with a person. Sometimes I've had women, for example, will feel very loving when they are breastfeeding their child at some moment, okay? I've had one lady can just remember her cat kissing her. Oh, God. You could remember something with your horse, for example. But it could be, it's that little moment of love that we want to access, because everybody has some little moment of love. And by the way, if you don't have that little moment of love, that is a tappable issue, because we can go tap, 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 and these things can start showing up. Okay, oh, I remember, yes, I remember that now. But then once we start bringing into our system and generating this love, what we want to do is start expanding it. Remember, this love, although it's important to us, is a very small piece of the much grander love that we are in pursuit of here, okay? Very small piece. So we try to expand it. And we just do that mentally. We can start with it here and start to expand it. And what happens, and this is the very important piece of this, is as you start expanding this love within, you will find yourselves having blocks to it. You can only expand it so far, and here comes some self-talk, or here comes some kind of a block, and why can't I go any further? And sometimes you can identify it, and sometimes you can't, etc. That's a place where we stop and do EFT to remove or put aside, at least for the moment, that block to the awareness of love's presence. Okay? Are you with me? That's the idea of it. A simple, simple idea. And we can do that. I've had people do this, and it expands for them, and some quit doing it, as a matter of fact. Others keep doing it because it is so intoxicating in a way. Okay? They feel so good doing it, and they can expand more and more and more. Those who don't do it, typically this is the ego saying to them, don't go too far here because, you're going to do something bad with me, the ego, You're going to start going places where I don't want you to go, So it's an interesting dynamic that goes on. And we'll explore all of that here. Okay. That's the idea of it. Now, I'm going to ask you, Claudia, and everyone else here, to pick out, close your eyes if you need to, but find a moment in your past where, that's love, okay? Just identify. All you have to do is identify it. Have you identified it? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll give you 15 seconds. Go close your eyes and identify one, okay? Okay. Let me ask you first. What moment did you identify?
Well, let me check in with you and see if there's two emotions there. But as long as the love is there, it's still good?
Yeah, well, that's one reason we're stopping to ask these questions,
Okay.
so we refine what we're talking about. So go ahead.
You want me to tell you
Yeah.
what it is? Okay. I have been doing a training course with a group called Shared Crossing, and we're talking about death and dying and how to help people transition. As a nurse, I want to be better at that. And some of our homework was to do this exercise with someone we love. So my daughter and I sat together, and then we switched roles, but I was the person dying, and I had to tell her, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I will always love you. And when my life review comes up, and this memory comes to me, and I had a memory of her, I'll call you, and you come to me.
Okay.
And, we did it, and, there was that physical, intense sensation of love
Okay.
coming from her.
And that's a perfectly useful one for this purpose.
Okay.
Okay. But do you have another? Or you had a question about whether one was...
Well, because she also got very emotional and started crying because my mother also died that week. And so there was a lot of grief in the room as well.
Okay.
But the love and the grief were there together.
Well, are you able to separate out the love only? Because we're going to
Okay.
work with the love only.
Probably, but then we could just use Nico instead.
We could
The
use
horse.
what?
The horse is easier.
Well, okay, but
He's just pure love.
Okay, but this is important. That's why we're going to get behind some of these little details here, because she's got a very loving circumstance, loving event, and some grief involved with it. And chances are, as we go through this process and we start to try to expand that within ourselves, the grief part's going to come up. We may have to tap that one away, and that may be more or less difficult to do. So if we can get one that's more pure.
Simple.
That might be more useful here.
Okay.
Okay. We could always try the other one, but the one with your horse?
Yep.
That works? Okay, tell me about that.
Well, he does that to me always. When I get to him, he'll come and hug me, literally. He'll put his gigantic head in my heart chakra, and we'll just hug and just love each other.
Okay. Now he does this frequently? Okay. For our purposes, and thank you, for our purposes, we want to find one time in specific. That's best. So there may be dozens of them that this happened, but can you remember a specific time when he did that? And
Yes.
Okay, all right. So he's got his nose right in here, and you're feeling big-time love. It's, by the way, it's not what somebody else is feeling, like what your horse may be feeling. It's what you are feeling. That's what's important here. Okay, so thank you. With that in mind, I'm gonna ask some folks out here, and we're gonna refine this some. Go ahead, Barbara. Stand up, could you please?
My moment?
Yeah.
Well, it was just this morning as I was lying in bed, and my little cat came into the bed with me. He lay right up against me, and he put his little paw right against my chest. And it was so tender.
Okay.
I
yes.
didn't want to come to class. I just wanted to stay there and hug with him.
Well, yeah, and that's a really good thing, because we're gonna generate that and try to expand it and expand it and expand it. Okay, great. All right, who else? Who else? Go ahead. Can you stand up?
Yeah. So mine would be when my son was a little boy, and we were canoeing, and it was so beautiful, singing, and it was really nice. But it's also mixed with worry for him because he's off in school and stuff, and I worry about him. So is that a bad one to pick?
I don't know if it's bad. It's not ideal.
Okay.
But remember, as we try to expand this within ourselves, we're going to find these blocks. And this worry might be a block in this case.
Right.
Okay. Tap, 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 tap. See if we can't move that aside and keep expanding. Okay. But if you have another one that is purer, if you will, worth doing. Okay. Okay. Over here. All right, go ahead.
I had a moment after I'd had my second child. I had my son, and my daughter was 4 at the time. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table, and I was nursing him, and I looked down, and I had this total feeling of contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was right with the world. I mean, that's what came up. Everything is right with the world. I feel so good, so content.
And nothing else was impinging upon it at the moment.
Nothing else was impinging upon it.
Later on, of course, life hits you in the face and things impinge.
Right. But
okay.
this was just like perfect, and this thought arose, and everything was just peace and love.
Okay, and that's the kind of thing that we want to not only generate, but we want to expand. We want to get more and more of it. We want to get to the point where we can access it more and more often, if not make it permanent. Okay, that would be the ultimate goal. A bit of a lofty goal, but we have the tool to help us along the way. So go ahead.
Some years ago, I had an experience when I was working with a client. We were talking about angels, and suddenly this huge presence was there, like embracing us both, and my heart opened, and tears just started streaming in the recognition of the love.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so you're
very
turning into
beautiful.
spiritual love in this case. That's what I'm hearing anyway, rather than something that might be generated in the sensory world.
Yes.
Okay. When I'm doing this exercise, I do one of two things, just so you know. One is sometimes I'll go back to my own revelation, because that is very, very important back there. Other times, because I know I'm going to be teaching this with other people, I will use more sensory in this world type experience. And for myself, when I was a youngster, teenager, I had 2 dogs, Joe and Sam, okay? And Joe, I guess, was my favorite. But there was one time when we lived way out in the country, and he's got this long, bushy tail, and he would wag his tail through all these things. He had a bunch of burrs in his tail. And he would sit there, and I would try to pull these burrs out one by one, and it was hurting him. Okay, but he knew I was trying to help him. And there was this connection we have. There was this love moment. It was Joe and me, okay? So I often will access that and expand, okay? But good, thank you. Who else? Go ahead. Whoops, I'll get over here. Go ahead.
My memory, I actually have 2 that I'm sort of going back and forth between. One is I was a little kid, probably about 8 years old, and I was standing outside, and a warm rain came down. I was walking barefoot down the sidewalk, and I had this immense gratitude, joy, love of everything in like total ecstasy.
Okay.
And so that's like my big, yeah, go ahead.
Well, finish.
Okay, and so then my other one is...
Well, I'm going to stop you there for a second.
sure.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going.
Sure.
What if you could take that experience? I can
Yes.
just see the light in your face and
Yes.
yay, okay, and make it permanent, always there.
I try to do that on a regular basis. I try to access that, and it is so joyful. I can do it when I'm driving down the street. I can do it when I'm in a room full of people. It's such a joyful thing to do. It's one of my favorite things
Okay.
to do is to access that feeling. Yeah.
What prevents you from accessing it and being in that state perpetually?
I think distractions. You know, just things that
We might call it
the minutia, the details,
the sensory world hitting you in the face.
the sensory world, not realizing how magnificent it is, just getting distracted by that.
And in Course in Miracles terms, perhaps the ego is in there someplace saying, don't feel too good because if you do that,
Absolutely.
I'm going to disappear.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I might poof.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, good. But the second one, go ahead.
The second one was with my son. He's 5.5 years old. We're laying in bed. I'm putting him to sleep. And he just very warmly, we're staring into each other's eyes so beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
And he just gently puts his hand on me, even puts it on my face. And I love that. That was so cute. It really feels like that. And my
Yeah.
heart just expands like to infinity in this
Yes.
moment. And it's so
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And so listen to this, because the goal of what we're going to be doing here, the goal of it is to try to expand all this, make it more permanent, make it grow even further.
Yeah.
Okay, and so on with this process.
And more often.
And more often,
Yeah.
if not perpetual and permanent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Some of that goal is lofty, but it's doable with enough practice and so on. Okay, great, thanks. Who else?
you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
I was thinking about, I have had several very momentous experiences with love that I couldn't explain. You know, the big love, I call it. When it's not human love, it's something greater than myself. And I've been able to access that in the past when I wanted to feel that again. But I noticed this morning when I tried to access one specific experience that it doesn't come to me. You know, the feeling doesn't come back. And immediately I thought, I don't deserve that. Okay, so number one block, right?
Yes.
So
thank you. Oh, thank you. I have to bow and all that kind of stuff.
So then when you said do something more earthly, I live in Oregon and I often have the opportunity to drive through the Columbia River Gorge. And when I drive through the Columbia River Gorge, I just go like, oh my God, oh my fucking God. I mean, you know, it's just amazing. Now, I deserve that.
That's a technical term?
Yes, oh my fucking God,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I deserve, but I drive there and I just like, oh, this is so incredible, no matter when I go through. And as you can feel it, like I can feel it right now.
Yeah.
So there's a block right there. Why do I deserve that earthly love, but not that greater love that I have known as the big love all the time?
And one of the essential parts of this exercise is to be able to identify your blocks, okay? And that it takes a little skill, a little practice. You got to identify them, you know. But after a while, you get used to this. Oh, there it is, and or oh, there it is again, okay? And
Well, I have learned to pay attention to the little or big voice that I want to shut off. But it immediately said, you don't deserve that. And I thought,
okay.
well, of course I do. But no,
Yeah.
there must be a block in there that somehow thinks I don't.
Yes, and there are probably, in gold standard EFT terms, many specific events back there leading to the fact that, oh, you don't deserve that.
I don't deserve the big love.
Okay.
The big love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you may not deserve a bunch of other stuff. I don't know.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if you and I were
Absolutely.
one-on-one here, I'd
Yeah.
start exploring some of these
Yeah,
things and get back to
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
And so now we get to a point where sometimes we will be, this is important, we will be identifying blocks, and we won't be able to just tap, tap, tap and get that particular block out of the way permanently. We may be able to do something with it temporarily, but we may have to go back to the specific events in your life and actually use gold standard EFT to really start cleaning some of that stuff out so the slate is cleaner, okay? And then we go back to the radiating love exercise and so on. So there's some skills
All
in
right,
here.
well, if you need a guinea pig, I volunteer.
I have one.
Oh,
one.
you have Claudia. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Who else? Go ahead. Maureen, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this was a few years ago when I was in Santa Fe on a holiday, and I had a rent-a-rat car. And
Rent a wreck?
Rent-A-Wreck.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if they still have them, but it was a wreck.
It sounds inexpensive somehow.
It was. Yeah, I was trying to save money. And it was black, which I didn't like. The seat, because it was a wreck, the seat was saggy. But I was on a spiritual holiday, so the morning in Santa Fe, I went up to go on my adventure because I was so excited. And it was raining. And I thought, oh, the windshield wipers probably don't even work because everything else. But in that instant, because I was so excited, I didn't care. Suddenly this pure love poured out for this Rent-A-Wreck because I knew it was going to take me on this adventure, and I knew it didn't matter if the windshield wipers didn't work. I knew I was safe for some weird reason. And it was such, and then the weird thing was, then there was lightning that like I'd never seen in my life. It was the whole sky was pulsating with this rhythmic, brightness. And with every pulse, the sky changed. It was like seeing creation. And I'm going, wow, they have this really weird lightning in Santa Fe. And I couldn't believe it. And on my trip, I went to Albuquerque, and I was staying with someone I didn't know, but a spiritual person, like, we share houses. And I said, wow, you have this incredible lightning here. And she said, no. She said, I think you had an experience. Yeah. And I think it was true because I felt this really strong love for this car. And I don't usually like cars.
Okay, well, what I'm hearing there is you've had a sort of a revelation like I've had other people have talked about here, in this experience.
Oh, yes, I had. It was after my major one.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
This one sounds something like that. Now, to me, that's a perfectly good one to use.
Is it? Oh,
for
good.
For this
I wondered
purpose.
Because it's weird. It's like about a thing.
Well, the most important thing, though, is you need to access that feeling. So we're going to start this off with you generating that feeling and going back to it and getting that feeling.
Oh, it's such a good feeling.
Okay, and then we're going to expand and and make it a hopefully more permanent part of your world.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's what I want.
One or two more, and then we're going to take a break. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a couple of possibilities, but I have a fear that I'm not going to be able to really feel it. So that would be a block right off the bat, even to this one. So
and how
other
many
people may be feeling that.
here either cannot find one or have something like what she's talking about? Okay. Give me the words again. I've got to get the words in my head.
I'm afraid I'm not going to have the real deal. I'm not afraid I'm not going to be able to generate a real feeling.
Okay, but you can identify one.
Yes.
Even though you wonder if you're going to be able to.
Really
okay,
feel
you've got
it.
blocks going. This is what I'm hearing. You've got blocks going on already. You've
Yep.
identified one,
Yes.
but even to try to get to, can I even recreate that even a little bit?
Yep.
Is a doubt.
Yep. Kind
Okay.
of performance anxiety.
Okay. Other people in here have difficulty finding one, period. So with that, we're going to do a little tapping. Okay. I'm going to address, in the interest of time, both issues. Okay. First one is going to be with you. Okay. Okay. Even though. Let me get my words right. Even though I'm so afraid I can't generate any reasonable amount of love here.
Even though I'm so afraid I can't generate any reasonable amount of love here.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
This fear of generating love.
This fear of generating
This fear of
love.
generating love.
Fear of generating
This
love.
fear of generating love.
This fear of generating love.
This fear of generating
This
love.
fear of generating
All right,
love.
keep going.
This fear of generating love. This fear of generating love. This fear of generating love.
Right about here.
This fear of generating love.
Okay. And then,
This fear of generating love.
okay. Now, what I didn't do with her, and probably should have, because I'm a little pushed for time for the break and all that, is I should have had you try to begin with to access this item and see what you could actually do with it. And then we would do tap, 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 and see what you could do with it afterwards. Okay, and so that's my bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this other round for the other issue. But then when we come after the break, I'm going to address this again because I don't want anybody, they can't get off the launching pad. Okay, so all the rest of you who may have a difficult time with this say, even though I can't even find one of these loving moments, I somehow know they're there. I just want to find one. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Blocks to finding a moment of love. 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 Okay, have a seat if you would. Thank you. Let me get back up on stage here a second. Okay, we're going to take a break here just shortly. When we come back, I'm going to go through this again, what we just did, to make sure that as many people as we can at least get the blocks out of the way to even finding one. Okay, but what I'd like to have you do, those that just tapped and have a difficult time finding one, is to, as this break unfolds, get quiet someplace, go over in a corner somewhere, and try to find one, and see if what we just didn't, at least temporarily, remove such a block or help with that block. Because I may want to ask you something about that when we get back together again, okay? So it is now 10 o'clock straight up. We'll meet again at 10:15.